Alright, first and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. We're the Hebrew Israelites. We come out here week in and week out to let the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American know that they are the children of God, the Israelites the Bible speaks of, man. Alright, and to prophesy the judgment and destruction that's coming to Babylon the Great, man. America, Canada, man. Alright? We come out here week in and week out to dispel the lies of Christianity and the white man, so-called white man, who is in fact the Edomite, who is prophesied in the scriptures to be utterly wasted and destroyed until none of them are left, man. And not by no damn mixing, by slaughter, man, as it is written. Alright, now last week we had an encounter with this damn demon, right, David Lynn. And he went into Romans 11, and I couldn't adequately break it down because he had to read the entire chapter without being interrupted, right? So now through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, we're going to go into Romans, the 11th chapter, and so we can get the understanding of it, man. Without a demon over-talking, without a demon playing his demonic tricks, man. Alright, so give me that Romans 11:1.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 1. Say then.
Right. He said, I say then. Paul said, I say then. Now, what does this mean? This means that he's already speaking about something. He's just finished speaking about something and he's continuing his speech. Right? To get the context, you got to go into the previous chapter, man. You got to understand, this letter, this is a letter from Paul to the church in Rome, man. Right? This was not broken down into chapters when he wrote it. It was one continuous letter. So now let's get context. We got to go to the 10th chapter of Romans. Start at the first verse, so 10 and 1.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel.
For who?
For Israel.
Oh, for everybody.
For Israel.
For Israel, read.
Is that they might be saved.
So this is the context. The context is that Paul's prayer and desire is for Israel to be saved, man. Not for all nations to be saved. For Israel, man. This is the context. Alright, now let's jump to 20. Alright, let's jump to 20. Let's get some more context, right? 20, 21 leads right into chapter 11, right? Let's go.
Verse 20. But Isaiah is very bold and saith, I was found of them that sought me not. I was made manifest unto them that asked not after me. But to Israel he saith, all day long I have stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people.
Right. So here's Paul quoting Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, the 65th chapter. Right? And we're going to get that. But notice, the Christian will read this, especially that first part, verse 20. Right? It says, it says, I was found in them that sought me not. So a Christian will say that's about all the heathens, those people that sought me not. Let's see where he's quoting from, and let's get context, right? Go to that. Isaiah 65:1.
This is Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 1. I am sought of them that asked not for me.
Right, go ahead.
I am found of them that sought me not.
Read.
I said, behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name.
Right, go ahead.
I spread out my hand all the day unto a rebellious people. A rebellious people.
Right? When you read the scriptures, Israel is that rebellious people. Read 21 again.
But to Israel he saith, all day long I have stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people.
To Israel I say it, right? Keep reading.
Oops. Isaiah 65 and 2, I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good after their own thoughts. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens, and burneth incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves, and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels.
All things that you can find in the law that make the Most High upset when Israel does it, because the law, the Mosaic law, was only given to Israel. Right, read?
Right, verse 5 would say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all the day. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense into their bosom. Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, saith the Most High, which have burned incense upon the mountains, and blasphemed me upon the hills. Therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom. Thus saith the Most High Yahawah, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servants' sakes, that I may not destroy them all.
Right, that's why he said, my prayer is for that Israel should be saved. You're going to keep reading. You're going to keep reading. My prayer is that Israel should be saved, right? Why? Because there's a remnant that's left. Keep reading.
Verse 9, and I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob, out of Jacob, and out of Judah, an inheritor of my mountains, and my elect shall inherit it, my servants shall dwell there.
Dealing with the elect and the servants of the Most High, it's called them, it said they will come out of Jacob and Judah, man. Giving context to what's being said in Romans the 10th chapter going into the 11th chapter. All right, now let's get that, Romans 11. All right?
The book of Romans chapter 11 verse 1. I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid.
God forbid. Right, read?
For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew.
Which he foreknew. And the foreknew are the Israelites. Right? Keep going.
What ye not? What the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed the prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal.
So the context of this is dealing with all of Israel not being cast out. That's why he said, God forbid. And he referenced in the book of Kings when Elijah thought he was the only one left. And he said, no, I have a remnant. I'll always have a remnant of my people, man. All right, keep reading.
But what saith, even so then, at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. And if by grace, then it is no more of works. Otherwise grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then is it no more grace. Otherwise work is no more work. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
Right, and that talking about who was blinded is talking about the Jews in Judea, in Jewry, man, which is what I was trying to tell this demon, man. But he wouldn't accept that as an answer. The Jews in Jewry were blinded because why? Yes, they were keeping the laws, yes, they were keeping the customs, but they could not accept that YAHAWASHI was the Mashiach, man. That Jesus was the Christ. This is what they were blinded from, right? Keep reading.
Verse 8, according as it is written, God hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that should not see, and ears that should not hear unto this day. And David saith, let their table be made a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid.
Have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, right? Read.
But rather, through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
Right. So now, have we stumbled that we should fall? God forbid. But rather, through the fall, salvation has come to the Gentiles. Now, what is that dealing with? Because that sounds kind of contradictory, right? It said, have we fallen? It said, God forbid. But then it says that we have fallen. Give me Deuteronomy 7 and 6, right? Give me Deuteronomy 7 and 6. No, he's getting it. Stay there. Give me Deuteronomy 7 and 6. And you hold that right there. All right, you got that? What?
This is Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Most High thy power. The Most High thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
We have not fallen. We are above all people that are upon the face of the earth, man. God forbid that we should fall, meaning what? Even though we're in a downtrodden state, even though we're utterly destroyed as a people, we're still the best people, man. We're still the greatest people out here, man. Even in our destroyed state, we are far better than all these other people, man. Right? But then it says, rather through their fall, when you go into the Greek words, those are two different words for fall, right? But now rather through the fall, salvation is come to the Gentiles, meaning what? The fall that it's talking about in the latter part of that verse is talking about the Judeans falling, Jewry falling, 70 AD. Those brothers falling from their place opened up salvation to the rest of the nation of Israel, man. That's why Caiaphas said what he said, which we're gonna get into, right? We'll keep reading that. Matter of fact, read that again, and then you get me Romans 9 and I believe it's 4 or 5. Read.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should, verse 11, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid.
Right.
Rather through their fall, salvation has come unto the Gentiles.
Right. God forbid that we should fall. God forbid that we should ever cease from being the greatest people on the planet, man. But yes, we did fall from our place in Judea, man. But we've not fallen from that place of being the greatest people on earth. Let me see that. Read 4 and 5.
This is Romans chapter 9 and verse 4. Who are Israelites,
read.
to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants
Read.
and the giving of the law
Go ahead.
and the service of the Most High and the promises,
Read.
whose are the fathers,
Whose are the fathers, read.
and of whom as concerning the flesh
Concerning the flesh, read.
Christ came, who is over all,
Who is what?
who is over all,
We are over all people, man. We are above all people. Should we fall? God forbid, man. And even in our fall, we are over all people, man.
Right.
All right? Keep reading that in 11.
But rather through their fall, salvation has come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world,
Hold on.
To provoke them to jealousy. What's your reason? Go ahead.
This is Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 1. How hath the Most High covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remember not his footstool in the day of his anger.
Come on, man. We were cast down out of our place, out of Judea. Give me Luke 15. All right? Because the scripture just said that we would be provoked to jealousy, man. And the Christians and the white man and David Lynn think that means that we're going to be provoked to jealousy by actual heathen Gentiles, not understanding the parable that's being spoken about, not understanding the context, which we demonstrated is about Israel being saved, man. Not understanding the history of Israel and how many people were cast out of Israel, man. And in Judea and Jewry, you had an aristocracy that was rejecting all of the other Israelites, man. Right, let's read that. Where you at? 15? Come on, go ahead.
This is Luke chapter 15 and verse 11. And he said, a certain man had 2 sons.
Right, this is Christ giving a parable, the prodigal son, right? Read.
And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto me his living. And not many days after, the young son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and sent him into his fields to feed swine.
So this young brother, right, this son, he took all his inheritance and he left his home. And he joined himself to another nation. Now, if you join yourself to another nation, what does that mean? You're calling yourself by that nation's name. So he's no longer a part of his father's house. He is a part of a heathen nation. When you read the scriptures, this is exactly what happened to the nation of Israel, man. You had people living as other nations. They left Israel and they went to go and be in the other nations and assimilated themselves to that nation, man. Right? Keep reading.
And verse 16. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him.
Right.
And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger.
Right.
I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son.
I am no more worthy to be called thy son. Now the sons of God are who? The Israelites. So he said, I am no more worthy to be called thy son. And that's the state that a lot of Israelites were in, man. Living in a heathen Gentile mentality. And the Jews of Judea, they understood this. And they said, you're no longer called the sons of God. You're no longer Israelites. You're heathens. You're Gentiles. Because you joined yourself to those nations. You didn't come keep the feast days. You didn't come 3 times a year to Judea to keep the feast, that mandatory feast. So you're a heathen. You didn't circumcise yourself. You don't keep the Sabbath. Right? So now you're a heathen to us. Right? Go ahead.
All right. Verse 19, I am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet.
Right, but this father welcomed his son back home with open arms, just like any good father would, man. Your son leaves that house and he decides to go live his life like a demon and a criminal. A lot of times that son doesn't even come back. He doesn't even make it home. Right. You see him on the 6 o'clock news. Right. That's why a good father rejoiced when he saw his son come home, man. God. Just like the Lord is rejoicing when his children come home. Right. During this time and during the time of Paul, man. The Gentiles, the so-called Gentiles, the Romans, the Corinthians, were all living righteously, man, enjoying themselves to those other nations. And we're now being called back home to be Israelites, man. To be who they were born to be. Right, read?
Bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. And bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry.
He rejoiced that he made a party, man. Just like in the scriptures it says, the angels in heaven rejoice when one sinner repented, man. Right, keep going.
And bring, for verse 24, for this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry.
Right, and this is going into, which we're going to go into further, the reconciliation that talks about in Romans 11. Being reconciled to the Father. Being reconciled to even his brother, man. Which we're going to get into, right? Go ahead.
Now his elder son was in the field.
Now this brother, the other son, he was in the field. He stayed home. He stayed down. He stayed serving his father. He never left. Right? Just like the Jews in Judea, in Jewry. They stayed down. They stayed doing what they were supposed to do. Up until the time of YAHAWASHI, which is why they fell, because they didn't have faith in YAHAWASHI. Right, keep going?
And as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, Thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. Right,
so this brother said, What's the whole fuss, man? What's the party going on? And the servant said, Your brother came back home. Your brother's home and your father's throwing a party. Right? Read.
Verse 28, and he was angry.
And he was what?
And he was angry.
Read that up again.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather, through their fall, salvation has come unto the Gentiles.
Unto the people that left. The people that left, they can come back now. Right? Read.
For to provoke them to jealousy.
And the people who stayed down, they got jealous. They got angry, man. Right? Keep reading. Now keep reading in that.
Verse 27. Verse 28. And he was angry and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he answering said to his father, Lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment. And yet thou never gavest me a kid, that I might make merry with my friends.
See, he's jealous, man. He said, I stayed down, man. I stayed here. I did everything I was supposed to do, but you never had a party for me like that. He's jealous of the brother that got to come back. That's who's being provoked to jealousy in Romans 11, man. Right. Not by some heathens, because if you understand the parable, it's 2 sons and 1 father. So these are the same people of the same seed of the same father, man. That's right. Not some random person, some Gentile heathen. Right. All right? Keep reading to 32, or.
God, this is Hosea chapter 2 and 7. I'm gonna start up. This is Hosea 2 and 7. And she shall follow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them. And she shall seek them, but shall not find them. Then shall she say, I will go return to my first husband.
And when you understand what's being spoken of contextually in the scripture, it's likening Israel and Judah to 2 women. So one of them left to lovers, to the heathen, to the Gentiles. Now she's saying, I'm going to come back, right? Read.
Then shall she say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then was it better with me than now.
Oh, that's it on that, right? So go back to that and get 32. Read 15 and 30. Read to 32. Come on, hold on.
In verse 30, but as soon as this thy son was come, which have devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed him for the fatted calf.
See how jealous this brother is, man? He said, this nigga went out, bought hoes, bought drugs, went crazy. And he comes home and you make a party for him, man. Jealous of his brother. Provoked to jealousy. Right, read?
And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad, for this thy brother was dead, and is alive again, and was lost, and is found.
And was lost and was found, once again, going into that reconciliation, man. Which we're going to get into, right? Keep reading that in Romans 11. Call it out.
Book of Romans, chapter 65.
No, Romans 11.
Oh, sorry. Romans chapter 11, verse 12. Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them is the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
Right? Now dealing with, once again, the Judeans falling down, now the space is open up for the Gentiles to come back. Right? Keep reading. You got a precept? Go ahead.
This is Isaiah 53 and verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Most High hath laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Right, and that's talking about Yahawashi. Right? Keep reading.
For I speak to you, Gentiles. Inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify in my office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them.
Right?
So he's trying to provoke them through the jealousy to come into this truth, man. To accept Yahawashi and accept their own brethren. To stop being such stuck up snob niggas and accept their brothers, and the Lord is forgiving their brothers, so why can't you forgive your brothers, man? Right? Keep reading.
For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world.
See, there's that word, the reconciling. Give me Jeremiah 30. Give me Jeremiah 30 and 17. All right? The reconciling of the world, which we don't need to go into that word world. We understand, Hebrew Israelites no one understand, and the Christian church has been completely and utterly destroyed on that world time and time again, man. Who the world is. Clearly Israel.
That's right.
Reconciling of the world, right? Read.
This is Jeremiah 30 and 17. For I will restore health unto thee.
I will restore. There's that word again, right? Come again. Because the heathen were never joined to the Lord to be reconciled, to be restored. They were never joined unto him. But you know who was? The nation of Israel, man. And the brothers that were casted out, and the brothers that were scattered abroad. They were connected to the Lord to be restored and reconciled. Right, read?
And I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Most High.
Go on.
Because they called thee an outcast.
They called thee an outcast. They said those niggas left. They can't come back. But the Lord said they could come back. Right, read?
Saying, they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after.
Read.
Thus saith the Most High, Behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof, and out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, and the voice of them that make merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I'll punish all that oppress them. And their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governor shall proceed from the midst of them, and I'll cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is this that engage his heart to approach unto me, saith Yahweh? And ye shall be my people, and I will be your God.
All of this is showing that it's about Israel. Hold on. Keep reading. All of this is showing that it's all about Israel. Everything that's happening in these scriptures is all about Israel. You're not seeing no heathen Gentile being grafted in any of this. Right, read?
Verse 23, Behold, the whirlwind of the Most High goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of the Most High shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it.
Right, now drop that, give me Ezekiel. Give me Ezekiel 37. You're going to read 19 to 28. Alright? Hold that in Romans. Give me that.
This is Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 19.
Right, going more further into the reconciliation. Who's it for? What's it about? Is it about heathens? Let's see. Read.
Say unto them, thus saith the Most High Power, behold, I'll take the stick of Joseph.
Who?
The stick of Joseph.
No, the stick of the Edomites and the heathens.
I will take the stick of Joseph,
Joseph, read.
which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him. Even with the stick of Judah,
No, the Edomites.
even with the stick of
The
Judah,
Gentiles.
even with the stick of Judah,
Ephraim, Joseph, Judah, Israelites. Read.
even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand.
Make them one stick or reconcile them. Put them back together. Because they split during the time of Jeroboam. Right, read?
And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus saith Yahawah Power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen.
From among the heathen. Not with the heathen. Not they're gonna heathen are gonna be grafted in with them. I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen. Read?
Whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land.
Here's more reconciliation. Bringing them back into their land. Reconciling with their land. They've been reconciled with their brothers, reconciled with their land. More importantly, we're going to read, reconciled with their God, their power, Yahawah, who is not the God of the heathen, man.
Right.
Read.
And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all.
No more division, reconciliation between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Read.
Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God.
And I will be their God, reconciling them to their God, man. That's what needs to be reconciled. That's the world that needs to be reconciled. Israel, to themselves, to their land, and to their God, most importantly, man. Shalom, King. All right? Now let's keep reading that in Romans. Or read that again, rather. Go ahead.
Oh, Luke 15 and 24. Romans 11.
For if the casting away of them, this is the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 15. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be? But life from the dead.
Life from what?
Life from the dead.
Life from the dead, Luke 15 and 24.
This is Luke chapter 15, verse 24. For this my son was dead,
My son was dead when he left and joined himself to another nation. Read.
and is alive again. He was lost and is found.
And when he came home, he was alive again, and he was lost, and now he is found, man. That's what that's dealing with. Not some goddamn heathen. Not some white people. Not some Asians. None of that. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and the scattered Israelites, man. Coming back to their God. Coming back to each other, man. All right? Keep reading that.
Verse 16. For if the first fruit be holy, for if the first fruit be holy,
If the first fruit be holy, right? Now who's the first fruit? And who's the holy? Let's see. Read.
This is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 3. Israel was holiness
Israel was holy. Read.
unto the Most High, and the first fruits of his increase.
Israel was holy and the first fruit. Let's keep reading.
for if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches.
Right? So the first fruit is holy, and that's dealing with Israel, the holy first fruit. The branches are Israel that come from the first fruit, from that lump, that seed, which the parable Paul's talking about is about to go into that. Like I tried to talk to this goddamn demon, David Lynn, when it's talking about a wild olive tree and a good olive tree, it's still a damn olive tree, man. That comes from what? An olive seed. So how are you likening that wild olive tree to a damn heathen when it's the same seed, man? Idiot. Keep reading.
Right. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou be a wild olive tree, were grafted in amongst them, and with them partakest of the root and the fatness of the olive tree.
So this idiot thinks that means another nation can be grafted in. another seed can be grafted in. Give me Deuteronomy 22:9. Right? Because that goes completely against the Bible, man.
Right.
That goes completely against the laws of God that we were given, man. But Christians hate the law of God, man. Christians really hate the law of God so much, right? Read.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds.
You're not supposed to mix seeds, man, according to the law of God. But you think Paul is going to be giving a parable that contradicts that? You're an idiot, man. And you hate God, you hate his law, and you're lying on Paul, man.
That's right.
Read.
Lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
That's a defiling of our nation, man, that you're trying to push. Keep reading that in Romans. Call it up.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 18. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee.
Right?
Because this is what was happening, man. Now the Gentiles were saying, oh, we're allowed in, and they were boasting. You had the Judeans boasting. Everybody was boasting, not realizing nothing you do. There's no law that you can keep and all that, and any acts and works that you can do that will have you saved. The only reason we're getting saved is because God promised Abraham that he would save us, man.
Right.
God promised our forefather Abraham, which when you go into Romans the 9th chapter, it tells you out of Abraham the seed was through Isaac, and then God hated Esau and chose Jacob, man.
Right.
That's what it's dealing with, and contextually, all this goes into the book of Romans, man. The letter that Paul wrote to the Romans, the church at Rome. Right, read.
This is Romans chapter 4 verse 13. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law,
Not through the law, read.
but through the righteousness of faith.
But through the
Righteousness of faith. That's how we got that promise, through faith. That's why we stress keep the law and keep the faith, man. All right, keep reading in that. Call it up.
This is Romans 11, verse 19. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in.
Right, because the Jews in Judea that didn't accept Yahawashi, they were broken off, man. They went off. They weren't going off until that point, until Yahawashi came. But they went off because they didn't accept Yahawashi, man. When all the scriptures are pointing to Yahawashi's coming, man. But they were blinded. And through their blindness and their falling off, now the Gentiles were able to come in. So-called. The brothers that left, now they had an opportunity to come back and get right and keep the law, statutes, and commandments and faith of Hamashiach Yahushua. Not some goddamn heathens, man. Right, read?
Verse 20. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off.
Because of unbelief. Because they didn't believe in Jesus Christ. They didn't believe in Yahushua. Right, read?
And thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear.
Right? Don't act like those brothers that don't believe in Yahushua, like you're better than them now because you do believe in Yahushua. Right, read?
For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spares not thee.
Exactly, right? So if the Most High didn't spare the brothers that stayed down, right? If he broke them off, what makes you think you're not going to get broken off if you go off too? You'll get broken off just as quickly as those brothers, man. So you got to be humble in this thing. Right, read?
22. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on them which fell, severity, but towards thee goodness. And if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again.
So now if they get right, like he said, I'm going to provoke them to jealousy and emulation that they might get right. If they get right and believe in Yahushua and accept their brothers, they can come into this truth, man. This is what Paul was saying. This idiot kept stressing, oh, there's two people, the natural branch and then the wild olive branch. Not understanding and not getting into his damn thick retarded skull that the natural branches, the Judeans, Jewry, that did not accept Yahushua, and the wild olive branch were the Israelites that fell away from their culture and heritage. Just walk by, man. Right? The Israelites that fell away from their culture and heritage, that's the wild olive branch of the same seed. When you understand the parable, you got, look, take it in like this. You have a garden, right? And you have an olive tree in your garden. The gardener is the Most High. And he trims it and he keeps it nice. That's the law. He's ruling over it. Now this other tree is wild. Nobody's keeping it. Nobody's cutting it and making it look nice. It's just wild because it's not in the garden. It's not in the sight of the gardener. Just like the Gentiles are not in the sight of the Most High. They be just going off, doing whatever. That's why they're a wild olive branch, man. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 24. If thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature,
Right? You were cut out of the world and brought into the truth. Right? Read.
and wert grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree,
Into this truth. Read.
how much more shall these which be natural branches be grafted into their own olive tree?
Right, exactly. These brothers were doing well. They were a part of the tree until Yahawashi came and they didn't believe. They fell off. But now if they accept Yahawashi, they'll come in this thing real easy, man. Easily come back into this truth. Right, read?
Verse 25. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel. That blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
Until the fullness of the Gentiles come in, man. And they think that means heathens. No, that's talking about the nation of Israel that fell off, man. Because so many, look at this sign, right? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right? You had people of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that fell off. But then you got all these other tribes that fell off as well, man.
Right.
So we're going to read about Ephraim, which is the head tribe, which we read in Ezekiel, represents the entire northern kingdom. Right, read?
This is Genesis 48, also verse 18. And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations.
A multitude of nations. When you go into that Hebrew, it says Goy, Gentiles, heathens. They shall become a multitude of heathens and Gentiles. That's the fullness of the Gentiles that needs to come in. All the Israelites need to come back into the truth, man. And here's the conclusion. Keep reading.
Verse 26.
This is the conclusion of all this. Just like we read in Romans 10 and 1. My prayer for Israel is that they be saved. This is the conclusion of this parable. Read.
And so all Israel shall be saved.
That's the conclusion, man. That's why in that video when he brought this out, I was like, that cuts you. And he, like an idiot, didn't understand how he was cutting himself when he read that, man. And so all Israel shall be saved. Right, read?
And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written. They shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
Give me Romans 8 and 32.
For this is my covenant.
Slow on. Romans 8:32. All right. Right, that all Israel shall be saved. Right, read.
This is Romans 8 and 32. He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all.
For us all. That's all. And once again, we're a few chapters behind, bringing context and bringing the proof of who all is. It said, for all Israel shall be saved. In Romans 10 and 1, he said, my prayer is for Israel, that they should be saved. Right, read again.
Romans 8 and 32. He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things?
Right?
He delivered him up for us, right? That all Israel shall be saved. When you read Matthew 1 and 21, it said he shall die for his people. And the very next chapter says his people are Israel.
That's right.
When you read Isaiah 53, it says he was given up, he was stricken for the sins of my people, for Israel. All of it is for Israel through the spirit and power of Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, man. Right, read that?
Precept. This is Isaiah 59 and 20. I'm sorry, verse 19.
Wait one moment, we're doing a lesson. We'll answer your question right after. Read.
So shall they fear the name of the Most High from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Most High shall lift up a standard against him. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob.
In Jacob. And we just substantiated that the tree that's being grafted in, because you'll just say, oh, well, people are being grafted in. That's Israelites that are being grafted in.
That's
Give me
right.
Luke 11. No, or Salakia, John 11. We're going to start at 49. Right? For all Israel to be saved. All about Israel, once again. And Caiaphas understood this, man. Right? Read.
John 11 and 49. And one of them named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, ye know nothing at all.
David Lynn, you don't know nothing at all, man.
That's right.
And all your flunkies don't know a goddamn thing, man.
Right.
Read.
Said unto them, ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahawashi should die for that nation.
Yahawashi should die for that nation, and he prophesied this through the Spirit, man. Right, read?
And not for that nation only,
Not for Judea only, not for Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, not for the brothers that stayed down only. Right, read?
and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of the Most High power that were scattered abroad.
He should gather together. He shall gather together the children of the Most High. Shut your mouth, you filthy, disgusting demon.
That's right.
All right?
Come with me.
You're drunk, man. Get out of here, you goddamn demon. All right? So it said, he should gather together the children of God that were scattered abroad. But see, David Lynn would have that demon join into the nation of Israel, man. That disgusting, filthy animal. Right? He's going to be a slave in the kingdom of heaven. Just like Isaiah, the 61st chapter says, which David Lynn ran from, man. Ran and never returned back to that scripture, man. But you booted somebody, though. You idiot. Right, read?
This is James 1:1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahawashi Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
To the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad.
Reading.
12 tribes, the 12 tribes of Israel. That's who the Most High sent his son to die for and gather together, man. That's who's being reconciled. That's who's being grafted back in, man. Not no damn heathens, man. Right? Keep reading in Romans.
Romans chapter 11, verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them.
This is my covenant, read.
Unto them, which I shall take away their sins.
I shall take away their sins, man. Give me Hebrews 8 and 8. Alright? Let's see who the covenant is for. That idiot admitted it, but then he ran to that garbage about them being grafted in, which we just disproved through the Spirit. Alright? Read.
This is Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 8. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the Most High, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
The house of Israel and Judah, read.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the land to lead them out of the land of Egypt.
Come on, drop that. Give me Ezekiel 37. Give me Ezekiel 37 where it talks about the covenant as well. Alright?
This is Ezekiel 37 and 25. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them.
I'll make a covenant of peace with them. And we read this earlier, about the stick of Judah and the stick of Ephraim being put together, reconciled. And now we're reading about the covenant, all pertaining to Israel. Not no damn heathens being grafted in, man. Clown. Read.
Right.
And I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore.
Forevermore. That's the new covenant, man. Which we're not in. Which that idiot probably thinks we're in right now. Right? Keep reading in Romans.
Verse 28. As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake.
Right? Those of our nation that don't believe in this truth, they are our enemies concerning the gospel.
Right.
Right, read?
But as touching the election,
because you gotta understand, you have the elect, the 144,000, but Israel as a whole is the elect as well, man. You have the elect, and then you have the elect of the elect. That's why in the temple you have the holy, then you have the holy of holies, man. That's why all Israel shall be saved, because ultimately, yes, they're going to be destroyed, but they're going to be in the kingdom after they could be reborn, man. That's why all Israel shall be saved. Right, read? Now go ahead.
This is Genesis 17 and 19. And the Most High said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
With his seed after him. Let's go to Romans 9. Let's go to Romans 9, man. Alright, so these idiots can't play games, man. 9 and 4.
It's in Romans chapter 9, verse 4. Who are Israelites,
Israelites, read.
to whom pertaineth the adoption,
The pertaineth the adoption, the grafting in, read.
and the glory, and the covenants,
And the covenants, which we're reading right now, pertains to them, read.
and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises, whose are the fathers,
Whose are the fathers, read.
and of whom as concerning the flesh,
Concerning what?
concerning the flesh,
So spiritual grafting in Christian plantation slave master Christianity.
and of whom as concerning the flesh,
Concerning the flesh, read.
Hamashiach came.
That's who Christ came for, man. That's who the covenant pertains to. That's who the grafting in pertains to. All of it is for Israel, man.
That's right.
Read.
But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake.
Uh-huh.
For the gifts and the calling of God are without repentance.
Reach.
For as ye in times past have not believed God, yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief. Even so, have these also now not believed, that through your mercy they also may obtain mercy. For God hath concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all.
And see, David Lynn will break that down, that everybody's going to have mercy, like this goddamn filthy animal right here. Give me Isaiah 14. And I'm going to conclude on that to show who's going to have mercy, man. All right? And I'm hearing reports that David Lynn is an Edomite. I'm hearing reports that David Lynn is a heathen, man.
That's right.
So guess what, David Lynn? Your ass is going into slavery, man. That's why you ran from that Esau, man. You ran like Forrest Gump from that Esau, man. You didn't want it. I saw it on your face, David. As soon as Esau got brought up, your heart sank, man. And that's why you ran to carnal arguments like a piece of garbage. And I showed how you contradicted yourself, man.
That's right.
To one brother, right, one Benjamite brother who comes out there without a Bible, who's not as learned and as seasoned, you told him that Jews are going to come looking black, they're going to come looking white, they're going to look Indian, they're going to look Chinese. But you try to talk to me about me and this brother not looking alike. You're a hypocrite and a double-minded, fork-tongued demon, man. Let's see who's going to have mercy. Read.
This is Isaiah 14 and 1. For the Most High will have mercy on Jacob.
On who?
On Jacob.
So the heathen.
For the Most High will have mercy on Jacob.
Right? And that grafting in is cut out, man. We just broke that down through the Spirit. Read.
And will yet choose Israel
Choose Israel, read.
and set them in their own land.
Reconciling them with their land. Read.
And the strangers shall be joined with them.
The strangers are going to be joined with us. Like we read in Isaiah 61. But they're going to be doing hard labor jobs. Slavery, man. While we minister to the Lord. Which once again, David Lynn ran like a track star from. Read.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Most High. For servants and handmaids.
No, for co-heirs and co-equal people.
For servants and handmaids.
Which also he ran from. And he also admitted racial hierarchy, ethnic hierarchy. Right, read.
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
And guess what? If your forefather is a heathen, you had us in captivity, man. And the Lord is going to give you to us as captives and slaves, man. That's the mercy that's promised to us, man. All right? And with that, I want to pass it off to the next speaker, called Halal Yahawah B'Shem Mashiach Yahawashi, man.
SICARRI.
We are the children of the one Yahawah.
The chosen.
Ye are the chosen of the one Yahawah.